Thanks, Ken. So to begin with, let's have a look at the concept of layering in DIPL multi-layer product. So when it comes to layering, you can visualize your layers as building blocks. These building blocks share similar elements between each other. The base layer contains all the elements which can be shared across all layers. You can have multiple layers on top of it. In the picture, we have layer A and layer B. We share the same elements that are present in base layer. You can make any changes to these elements that are being shared, and you can add more layers which may inherit from other layers, as we can see in the layer B stack. Now let's see how the product creation looks like in our multi-layer product. So when you begin, you might not exactly know how your final structure looks like. So during your design stage, you can create your product concept. In DIPL, we allow you to do this by creating nodes and then converting those nodes into an actual structural element types. Once this conceptual structure is evolved into a proper working product structure, you can run this into a runtime environment and observe the real-world implementation of your product. Furthermore, you can also add files and resource links to your concepts. You can capture any business requirements in those elements. Now, let's see how we can go about creating our first multi-layer product. There are different kinds of elements that helps you create your desired product. There is a conceptual element, which are the nodes that we just talked about. Then we have our product structure elements, which are risks, coverages, clauses, schedule, limit, discount, deductibles, tax, fee, and data fields. We also have our user interface definition elements. These are the elements that will derive the user interface in your runtime system. Next, we also have the element groups that helps you organize your product structure. The different groups we have are coverage groups, field groups, clause groups, and rule groups. Finally, we also have two main tables, rate tables, which helps in rating, and domain table, which helps you derive user interface using fields. We also have a concept of element library. So element library is simply a database of reusable elements. You can save your elements in there, and you can use those elements across multiple products. It copies that element from the library to your product, and there is no further correlation between the element library and your product. The library is still under development as of now to integrate multi-layer products. Next, let's look at some of the features that are available in our product creation tree view tool. You can create elements in bulk using bulk add feature. This will save you a lot of time during the design phase. You can also upload Excel table data, export any existing table data into Excel sheets, or edit your tables without ever leaving the app using the inline table editing feature. We also have other various handy features that you can leverage during your design time. You can search for any product elements within the product. You can make edits like discarding customization, deleting them, or modifying your customizations. You can also relocate elements using the drag and drop feature within the product. You can also convert elements to various other types if needed. Let's see all this in action. When you first log into InsureMO using the credentials, you will be greeted with this screen. Navigate to Digital Insurance Product Library, Global Products, which will then take you to the InsureMO catalog of our DIPL. At the moment, this InsureMO catalog is yet to include the multi-layer products in the library, which you can reuse later in your products. Today, we will only look at the private catalog of the InsureMO. From here, navigate to Manage Multi-Layer Insurance Products, where you will see all your multi-layer insurance products that you have created. Click on Create New. Fill up all the details that are relevant to your product. Select the region and click on Save Program Details. This should then load a base layer with a product node for you to start with. So this is what we call a scratch pad. This is where you can come up with concepts, you can have a working product structure in this tree view. We will start by adding a new risk to this product. Let's call it vehicle risk. You can also add attachments, as we discussed. Attachments could either be files or a link to a web resource. You can also add business requirements to any elements within the product if needed. Once you're done, click on Save Changes. You should then add this new risk under the product structure for you. Now let's look at adding nodes. Nodes are what we call the conceptual elements, which can then be converted into a proper structure if needed. Let's say this node might be a coverage in the product structure. Just call it a coverage for now. Click on Save Changes. And you can see the new node gets added to under the vehicle risk. Another feature that we have is a bulk add feature, where you can select an element and you can add other elements using the bulk add feature. To use this feature, you can either download an Excel sheet, pre-fill the data, and then upload it, or you can copy elements from clipboard. For now, let's just copy the elements from our clipboard. Then you will be given a list of elements that you can add based on the type of element you selected. You can start by adding new rows to your table. For now, we'll just paste some elements from the clipboard. So this text could be either a list of elements that you have in your Excel sheets or element that you have in the MS Word files. So you can paste your elements here. Select the default element type. Let's make it coverage and paste it. And once you're done, click on Done. This should add all the elements that you pasted within the product structure. Next, we have adding tables. We have rate tables and domain tables. Click on Add New, which will then open the rate table screen for you. Fill up all the details for your rate table. Enter the description. And this is where you define the schema for your table. We have key columns and value columns. Select the column type and enter the value columns. Once you're done, click on Build New Table. This should then load the empty rate table for you. So you could either upload Excel data for your rate table, or you can add new data to the table using the Add Row feature. Enter the details. Once you're done, click on Save Changes. They should save the table data for you. And you can see we have a new rate table with the status user changed. Now let's look into adding fields. Let's add a new data field to the accident coverage. Select the data type that you would like to capture and the length of field. Once done, click on Save Changes. This should then add a new field list node under the accident coverage for you. Now let's look at how we can convert the node elements into a proper product structure. So click on the node element that you would like to convert. Click on Edit. And then element type, select the type of element that you would like to convert this node into. Let's just convert this into a coverage. Select a coverage, click on Convert. This will then convert that node into a coverage and open the coverage edit screen for you. You can also reorganize your elements within the product using the drag and drop feature. Navigate to the normal mode toggle. Toggle it to relocate mode. This will then let you drag and drop elements within the product structure. Let's reorganize this accident into the product now. Let's add a new risk first. Click on relocate mode. Then you can drag your coverage into another risk. This will then relocate that accident for you. Once you're done, click on Save Relocated Elements. This will then relocate that accident element under the new risk that you dropped into. In order to work with this tree view, we have a bunch of handy features that you can make use of. You can find some of the features in View Helpers. In here, you can expand all the tree nodes, collapse them, show or hide the legend, or toggle between the name and description of the product structure. You can also locate any element within the tree view using the search feature. Search for the element that you would like to locate. If it finds a match, then it will give you the options that you can choose from. Click on third-party risk. They should then locate the coverage for you. Now, let's move into the customizations. Once you have done your customizations, you have a few options to choose from. You can either edit the existing customization, you can delete or discard the customization if needed. Discard is what wipes out all the changes that you made to the element. If it's a user change for inherited products, then it will permanently remove that change from the product. Or if it's a user added element, then it will totally delete that element from the product structure. For delete, you can mark elements at delete, which will then prevent the element from exporting into the runtime environment. And you can see how the rating gets affected by this. Let's discard a third-party coverage that we added. They should now wipe out the coverage from our product structure. Similarly, you can also add domain tables in your product structure, the same way we added rate tables. You can also select the type of element that you would like to search for. You can either search for the product structure node or the fields if needed. Form pages are the UI definitions that derive the user interface of your product. In this case, we have a policy node that has a policy form page attached to it. Every other UI definition will get added under the policy page. This is something which is still under development and will be available shortly in DIPL. Now we have seen how we can create a simple product using DIPL multilayer. Our next session, we will walk you through an example of creating a product with multiple layers, clone a product, or define any custom fields within the product. Thank you. Any questions?